Hi everyone, welcome to the Wooly Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne and this is a video podcast about my knitting, spinning, indie dye, and indie design business. Today is Monday, September 18th, 2017. I hope everybody's doing great. If you are a new viewer, thank you for taking some time to check me out. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you as always for choosing to spend a little time with me. I appreciate it. So we just got back from the Salida Fiber Festival and a little mini vacation, which was both were great. Colorado is one of my favorite places. The Salida Fiber Festival takes place in downtown Salida, as you might guess. Right there along the riverfront. We had gorgeous weather again. Just beautiful, like early fall, late Indian summer kind of feel to it. And thank you to everybody who came out and supported the booth and said hello. I hope you found something fun to knit this fall. And then after the Fiber Festival, my husband and I took a week and we went up to Estes Park, which is the sort of gateway town to Rocky Mountain National Park. So we went and toured. My husband did some fly fishing. We had rented a small cabin that was on the Fall River. So that was really nice. And there was a walking trail just out front. The couple mornings he got up early and went to fish. I just went for a run. Really nice and relaxing. We like to generally do the housekeeping cottage type thing. And that way we can take food and I can cook for my weird diet. It's just easier than going out. There's a grocery store right in town, so it was really pretty straightforward. Yeah, it was just really great. So today back home, kind of getting back in the swing of things. And so let's jump right in. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit different than some of my other ones, a little bit truncated in terms of projects and a little bit more looking forward. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some upcoming things for the Wooly Wonka Fibers shop. But let's talk about the immediate thing. Tao's Sheep and Wool is coming up October 7th and 8th, so just a few more weekends. I am not technically vending at the Tao's Sheep and Wool Festival, but I will be at the Mooncat Fibers yarn store, which is right on the Taos Plaza on Bend Street. It's across from a really great little coffee shop, and there's a bookstore right around the corner for those of you who might want to come and have a significant other who needs a little break from the yarn fumes. So Kathy's going to be hosting me in her shop. There is a Taos themed shawl with kit and pattern that's going to be exclusive to her shop called the Taos Mountain Shawl. It's a 5-color kind of different construction type shawl. She has the sample in hand. So after the launch during the Taos Sheep and Wool Festival weekend, I will endeavor to insert some pictures for that podcast to catch you guys up to speed on what that looks like. And it is a shop exclusive. So if you love it, you can just contact Kathy and she will get you set up with a kit. Obviously, once y'all see it. Kind of hard to be excited about something you can't even see. Anyway, so I will be there Saturday the 7th, pretty much all day. I will have some kits, I will have some patterns, I will have some book copies, meet and greet, all that kind of good stuff. So if you have plans to head on up to Taos and would like to hook up with me, Saturday the 7th is your day. I will probably be there, I think, like 9 to 4, something like that. Most of the daylight hours. We'll call it that. I think, okay, so that's it for shows. That's going to be kind of the last show of this season for me. So let's talk about some knitting. Let's get up to speed on that. I have a new pattern release that just released today. This is the Orpheus Cardigan. It is a pattern that is available in kit form to my sweater club folks and available as a standalone pattern to everyone else via PDF on Ravelry. I'll put a link down below. So this cardigan is knit from the top down. It starts with the garter stitch neckband. You work through the lace. It's a sort of stylized leaf pattern on the bodice. There are increases to get you from here down to here. You pop your sleeve stitches onto some scrap yarn, and the rest of the cardigan is worked in basic stockinette. I'll show you the back here. There is some waist shaping. You can see it's tucked in a little bit here, and then hip shaping. So it starts at the bust, tucks in a little, and then flares back out at the hip for kind of an hourglass shape. Long sleeves, and the sleeves are trimmed in the same leaf lace pattern as the yoke. So those match. In the interest, I should say this is a brand new color called Grape Jam. It's just a nice kind of blurple color with some violet, it's not variegated, but tonal quality to it. One of my favorite colors, and really happy that I have this in my fall wardrobe. Now, full disclaimer, it's been a busy fall. We're getting my husband ready to head out the door in a week to take up his change of station. So like we've got the moving company coming this week to pick stuff up. I just got back from this show. I'm trying to get stuff dyed for towels, kind of crazy. So I had a friend who has knit samples for me before, knit the sample, the original sample. She had some personal things come up, and as a result, we were running a little bit late. I was hoping to have photographs done and to release at least spoiler pictures for the Sweater Club folks just before I left for Salida. Instead, the sample sweater arrived the day before we were supposed to leave for Salida, and I thought, okay, well, I can still get photos done. We'll just, we'll do them right here in my backyard. We've got plenty of gorgeous trees. That's easy. So there's this pesky thing called gauge. I think my sample knitter hit gauge when she tested for the sleeves, because the sleeves fit perfectly. The body, however, because it's knit back and forth and not in the round, her gauge changed significantly to the tune of 1 full stitch per inch. Now the difference between hitting a gauge of 7 stitches per inch and a gauge of 8 stitches per inch meant that the body will not even fit really a small child. So Thursday afternoon, when the box arrived in the post and I pulled it out and I looked at it and I couldn't fit it on any of my mannequins at all, I thought, well, that's never going to fit me. I have to regroup. So I spent the week of my vacation reknitting this sample. And as a result, because what I had available in the shop that wasn't earmarked for the show or some other project, I wound up doing some math conversion, and I actually knit this in a sport weight. This is the Freya DK that is basically knits up as a normal sport weight. It's a 300 yard per 100 gram skein. Most DKs are a little bit heavier. This kind of bridged the gap. So I had to do some number fudging. So those of you with great knitterly eyes will realize that the lace pattern, there are slightly less repeats around here than there are on the fingering weight, because I had to rejigger the numbers a little bit to get it to fit. And I will say that I was not planning on knitting a sweater in 6 days while I was on vacation, but hey, done. Fits me great, love it, love the colorway, love everything about it. The actual sweater is knit in fingering weight yarn. It's in my Ayrton sock, which is that super squishy, super nice, super wash merino, cashmere, and nylon blend. So if you are in the sweater club, just take note of that. I think at some point I will reknit the other, the fingering weight version, but not this week. So all's well that ends well. It is done, it is photographed, it is released. So that's my little story about this particular cardigan. And now I have it kind of as like a vacation souvenir for Estes Park and Rocky Mountain National Park. So kind of can't beat that. Anyway, very happy with this. If you love it, again, link down below. You can go toddle off and get yourself a copy. Sweater Club folks, once I get your information about what colorway you want yours dyed in, I will be working on those over the next 2 weeks. I'm expecting to have everybody shipped no later than October 1st. So the sooner you get your color choice into me, the sooner I can put you in the queue, which is the sooner I can get that dyed for you. So that's where we are with that. Next up, I wanted to make mention of the fact that we'll be doing a Socktober knit along or crochet along for socks in the Wooly Wonka Fibers group. I have a post started. If you have interest in knitting socks or crocheting socks, any weight, any pattern, any yarn, come join us over there. Would love to see what you guys have on the needles for the fall, which is a perfect time for warm woolen socks. And maybe not just for you, but that's a great way to kick off your holiday gift knitting if indeed you do things like that. So let me show you guys what I plan to be working on. This is my barrel sock, which is a US grown Targhee wool and nylon. It's a 90 wool, 10% nylon mix. And I have dyed it up in the Under the Cherry Tree colorway, which, yes, goes awesome with my new sweater. Just saying. Not going to do anything super crazy with those. Let's see if I have... I have a copy of the pattern I want to use, but it's got all the pattern on it, so I will just put a link to it below. I've already forgotten what it's called. I want to say driftwood, but I don't think that's right. It's a very simple, just lightly textured patterned sock. I'll be doing it with a Fish Lips Kiss heel because these are just for me and I love that heel treatment. Yeah, so I got my two half skeins wound up and ready to rock and roll. So I will be casting these on not this weekend, but next weekend, which is, oh, sorry, I'm trying to flip my calendar open, like the 30th of September to get ready to go for Socktober. So again, if you have interest in knitting socks, think you're going to be knitting them anyway, come on over and join us in the Wooly Wonka group for Socktober. I don't have any spinning to show you guys. You can see lurking behind me, there is still my little Hanson e-spinner and no progress on that. I'm also going to skip stitching for this episode. I'll get back to that next episode. I'm just kind of discombobulated with my crafting plans for the month of September, so bear with me. It's a bumpy ride around here right now. I did want to tell you guys about two books that I have been reading. The first one I started and finished while we were away, and it's called A Beautiful Poison. It's a 2017 publication, relatively new. The woman who wrote it is someone who went to medical school, and the book is set 1918 into 1919. So it's just around the time when the US is getting into World War I. And there's a lot of social history wrapped up in this book. It is a mystery and kind of a murder mystery. But there's three main characters. There's the pretty socialite who happens to like and be interested in chemistry, so she's a bit of a blue stocking. There is her young friend whose name is Birdie, and Birdie and her mother used to live in the socialite's household. They were kicked out in disgrace. You don't find out until about 2/3 of the way through the book what the story is behind that. So Birdie and her mother has turned prostitute. Birdie, her mother, and her much younger sister, who's 4, Holly, live in basically the tenements, and Birdie works in a factory where she paints the faces, the luminescent faces on watches that are going to be going overseas with men who are in the army, in the military. And the final kind of main character is their mutual friend named Jasper. His parents committed suicide when he was a young boy. He's been living with an uncle who's an alcoholic. I know this sounds really cheery, doesn't it? Anyway, Jasper wants to go to medical school, so he's been saving his money up and working as a janitor at Bellevue Hospital. Now, Bellevue Hospital has a personal story for me because that's the hospital where my gramps did his residency, and my grandmother worked as a nurse, and it's where they met. It's set in New York City, I guess I should say that. So the story opens with the socialites, and I think her name is pronounced Aline. Her engagement party, and there's a death at the engagement party, which it turns out was a poisoning. And so the book traces these 3 young people attempting to figure out what happened to this person who was poisoned at the engagement party. And in the ensuing pages, more murders, more unsavory type deaths appear. So that's all I'm going to tell you about the plot. I was interested in the book because of the tie-ins to the early exploration of chemical poisoning. The 2 medical examiners who appear in the book that the young man is the janitor for at the hospital actually wrote a book on all the different types of poisoning and how they were able to test for it. They were at Bellevue Hospital. They were groundbreaking in the early analysis, kind of the early CSI, analysis of chemical poisons and how they affect the body. And I've read their original work. A little esoteric, but whatever. I love that geeky tidbits. And most of the tests that they developed or refined are still in use today to test for things like potassium chloride, cyanide, arsenic, lead, all of those types of things, wood alcohol poisoning. There's a tie into prohibition as well in this book because that's kind of looming on the horizon. There's also a tie in to the Spanish influenza epidemic that started in late 1918 and continued into 1919 and is the reason my grandmother became a nurse. She herself had the Spanish flu and survived it, but many members of her family did not. So all kinds of great early 20th century history wrapped into this book. There's one little tweak at the end that didn't make, like, it was off on the continuity, but you have to read the whole book to find out what that is. And I will say that I didn't see the ending coming. I had it narrowed down to who I thought were the 2 likeliest candidates, and it turned out to be neither one of them. So just saying, if you like that kind of thing, the suspense, the mystery, the historical tie lines in that, you'll probably like this one. Again, it's called A Beautiful Poison. I will put the Goodreads link below. And the second book that I have started but have not finished is called Lady Macbeth. And it's written about Lady Macbeth, oddly enough. Macbeth's wife was actually a real person. And this book is written from her perspective. Again, I'm only halfway through it, but the book has so many great details about the period of the late 11th century that it's set in Scotland. Ties in the Vikings and the Danelaw. It ties in the Celtic mystical beliefs. It ties in the Anglo-Saxon government and the move to Christianity. If you like Marion Zimmer Bradley books, I'm betting this one will be right up your alley. There is a fair amount of spinning in it. Our Lady Macbeth likes that. She finds it a sort of comforting, quieting task, so that and embroidery and things like that crop up in it. It does have some military history in it, but it's very seamlessly woven into the story so far. So you can get a feel for the times without being beaten over the head with it. Put a link below to that. I'll let you know my final thoughts on that book next time I talk to you in a couple of weeks. So that is all my normal stuff. I wanted to run some information past you guys to talk about some changes coming up in the shop and some things that I have planned for next year. I'm getting my notes out here so I don't miss anything. Okay, so next year I've alluded to the fact that I've got a lot of changes happening here with my husband being away, just all kinds of stuff going on here. And one of the things that I will be doing next year, or not doing as the case may be, is I will not be doing any clubs, any organized clubs, except the Fiber Club. That will still continue. If you're interested in that, subscriptions will roll over just like they've been rolling over every quarter and will be available at the end of the year, let's say mid-December. Those will reopen. You can sign up at any point in time for the 3-month quarterly themes. Haven't determined themes on that yet. Working on that. Stay tuned if you're a spinner or interested in being in the Fiber Club. What I am going to do next year is focus on a little more sort of interactive, not necessarily stashed down, but you certainly can do that, knit-alongs. And so 2018 is going to be the year of the Wooly Wonkapalooza Craftalongs. I hope you guys are going to be with me. I think this is going to be so much fun. So here's how it's going to work, and I will have more details in the Wooly Wonka Fibers group beginning October 1st. This will be a year-long craft-along. Each month you'll have specific prompts. They will be things like color or type of technical details. So for instance, here's where we're going to start. January. Our 2 themes are going to be lace and the color gray. Right? That's a huge umbrella. If you choose to participate, what we'll do is we'll have a craft-along thread in the Ravelry group for each month. You don't have to finish your project necessarily that month, but you do have to finish it within the year. No works in progress. Everything needs to be a brand new start. And we're going to do a point system. So for each project that you work on, you can use any yarn, you can use any pattern. Does not have to be Wooly Wonka. I'm trying to help you guys work on the stash. I really am, because trust me, I need to do this too. So you will receive points for basically the number of yards that you are consuming in a project. So if you decide you only want to work with bulky yarn and you want to knit things that are all like 200 yards or less, that's great. That's a 20-point project. If you decide you're going for broke and you're going to do a sweater, awesome. 1,000 or more yards, you get 100 points. We're going to add points up over the course of the year. And everybody who hits the 125 point mark over 12 months their name will go into the kitty for a $30 drawing for the shop or my patterns. 250 points gets you to a $60 drawing, and 500 points gets you to the $125 drawing. Those will be random number generated kind of things. Now, if you choose to use Wooly Wonka fibers for a particular project, whether it's hand spun, whether it's a yarn, 20 extra points to finish that project. If you decide that you're going to use one of my patterns, again, doesn't have to be my yarn, but one of my patterns, that gets you an extra 10 points. So if you decide to use my yarn and my pattern, that gets you 30 extra points just for finishing that project right there. So I think even the smallest, 125 points cumulative over the course of the year, there'll be lots of people who will be eligible for that $30 drawing. So that's only a few projects a year. I think everybody could do that. I'm going to try. For each month where we have that a specific prompt, like I said, January is going to be lace and the color gray. I'm going to discount my patterns and the yarn 20% for things that fit those categories. So for instance, lace shawls, lace socks, lace cardigan, any of those patterns will have a 20% off coupon you can use in the Ravelry shop to purchase something that you'd like to work on. Likewise, I will have a list each month when I announce the topics with the colorway, with suggestions for colors that I carry that would meet that criteria and would be 20% off. So for instance, January is gray. That would be things like pewter, be things like gray goose, be things like soot, be things like unicorn, because that has gray speckles in it. Anything that falls under that umbrella, if I have it in the shop, you certainly can order it and use the coupon code for that. Or if you want to do something that's maybe a larger lot dye, like a sweater or a shawl that you want to have specific colors in that color family dyed up for you, that same 20% off still applies to those custom orders. And what I'll do is I'll open the topic on the 15th of the prior month. That's the word I'm looking for. So for instance, for the January Craftalong, I will tell you the prompts and I will tell you what items will be affected by that 20% discount on the 15th of December. So then you have time to either place your order or contact me and say, hey, I want to do this. Can you suggest some things that might work for it? To pick up your pattern, to get your yarn, you'll be ready to go. And each month what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some suggestions for some items that would work great for our themes. Some will be mine, some will be some other designers that I've had my eye on, but I will put together a suggestion bundle, if you will, for each of those months' prompts. So again, to give you guys some idea about what to expect. Talked about January already. In February, we're going to do cowls and anything that has pink. March will be anything with cables and the color green. April will be shawls and anything that is either a white, has white in it, or sparkles. So that'll give you guys a chance maybe to use up some of the Erin Road sock if you've got that lurking in stash. May will be color work, and don't be scared by that because color work can be anything that uses multiple colors. So stripes, slip stitch, you can do true fair isle if you like stranded knitting or Nordic knitting, any of those all count. So keep that in mind that there's some flexibility with the term color work. And our color prompt will be neutrals. So anything that you think works as a neutral, white, cream, oatmeal, gray, black, navy sometimes is a neutral. Driftwood's a great neutral in my opinion. June, we're going to look at socks and the color blue. July will be textured stitches and the color red. August will be garments. And again, you don't have to finish your project in that month, but maybe you want to do a baby sweater. Either of those things count. And anything that's in the brown colorway. September will be slip stitch and yellows. October will be mitts or gloves, fingerless mitts count, mittens count, and black. November is garter stitch and oranges. And December is going to be wild card. It's going to be knitter's choice. If you have a holiday project you want to work on, great. You want to finish up that sweater that you started maybe back in August? Great. Want to do some selfish knitting? Rock on. Colorway for that month is going to be purple. And then we will do a drawing at the end of the year for each of those point marks that I talked about, the 125, the 250, and the 500 points. And those folks will then get a chance to order at the beginning of 2019. My goodness. Okay. All of this information I will put together in a thread that I will put in the Wooly Wonka Fibers group starting for October 1st, which is about 10 days away. Give you guys a chance to look through all of that, make some plans, decide if there are certain months you know you want to target. Maybe you've got a birthday gift or some other event, a wedding, a christening, a new baby coming in, whatever. I'd love to hear what you guys might like to be working on over the course of 2018. I have a whole page of plans right here. All of my thoughts. Yeah, I've picked 3 projects a month. I'm not going to get to 3 projects a month. I encourage you guys to work out a stash if you care to do that, or if you have a stash that you want to try to work down. I'm going to probably be doing a mix. I'm going to be doing some things from my yarn from the shop and some things from my personal stash. Handspun counts, absolutely. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Either leave me a comment below in the YouTube comments or pop that on over to the Ravelry discussion group. I'm betting if you have the questions, someone else does too. But I do hope that you'll join me. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I know that I've had a lot of folks who have been long time customers, you know, a decade at this point. And I know a lot of you have big stash acquisitions that maybe you'd like to chip away at. So I'm hoping this will give everybody a chance to kind of hunker down for 2018, maybe knit from stash a little bit, maybe, you know, try something new, be introduced to some patterns that maybe weren't on your radar, some new techniques. The other thing I'm going to try to do, if there is a specific technique that you have questions about, that you would like some help with or some information with, let's pop that into the Ravelry group thread, and I'll be glad to try to do a video tutorial or a video of some kind to try to help you guys out with those techniques. There's nothing to be scared about in any of those topics that I have up for the year. To be honest, if you like knitting socks, for instance, and you like plain vanilla socks, awesome. Knit plain vanilla socks. Knit 12 pairs next year. If you want to kind of play along a little bit more, just use the color prompts. That's really easy. Again, if you like socks, but you want to try to do something a little bit different, maybe try a pair of lace socks for January. That'd be a fun way to kick it off. I'm just hoping that the prompts and the point system and the thought of having some sales and maybe winning some goodies at the end of the year will help spur everybody on to, you know, challenge themselves a little bit and do something great in 2018. For those of you who are participating, we will also have some just random drawings for just small little swag kind of things throughout the year in each of those monthly forum post threads. So those will count for anybody who is working on whatever. You don't have to have the project finished in order to qualify. Just post your progress, post questions. I'm going to do total random number draws out of those discussion threads. So even if you don't want to knit any of the things, come chat with us about those projects. Give somebody a thumbs up and tell them they did a great job, or ask them what yarn they used, or ask them how they like that certain technique. That'll get you in the running to get a little bit of fun swag. So I think everybody can participate with this, or at least I hope you'll want to. And while I will have some new designs that will be coming out over the course of the year next year, they will be much more hit or miss, in the sense that as I get one done, I will, release it and have a note about it in the Wooly Wonka forums. But they will not be rolling out at the beginning of every month as they have been this year. So just to kind of regroup in a little bit, I hope you guys will understand sort of where I'm coming from in terms of just the need to ramp back a little bit. I know 2 years is not forever, but it'll be long enough with me trying to hold the fort here by myself over that time. And I know that there will be a lot of back and forth, me flying out to the East Coast and back and so on and so forth, that I'm trying to fit in with my other show schedule and other work items. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Would love to have you participate next year. I'm really excited about this and really looking forward to it. So let's get started on deciding what you'd like to do, and letting the rest of the group know what you have planned. Again, I'll be opening that thread around the 1st of October, and the first prompt and list of suggestions for lace/gray will show up in the Wooly Wonka Fibers threads around the 15th of December. So I think that is it for today. It was going to be kind of short, but it's not. Next time I talk to you will be October already. So I hope you guys are having a great month so far, and I look forward to talking to you in another couple weeks. Take care. Bye.